This is a gross episode today.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? We're back.
Laced Up, episode number 2. Oh, number 3. Wow, we're getting deep into this, guys.
We're deep.
We're deep. We're elbow deep into this now.
Oh, gosh.
No turning back. Welcome to episode 3, guys.
Plug us up, bro.
Plug us up. All right. Well, first off, I want to give a big shout out to everybody on Twitter. We're getting mad love on Twitter. I love it. You guys are doing a great job. You're smashing that mother flipping follow button. Follow button. You guys are showing us mad love in there. You're liking our tweets. You're liking our retweets. We're trying to do a good job of keeping up to date and that, managing that, interacting with you guys. So make sure to go follow us on LacedUp_podcast. That's LACEDUP_podcast. PODCAST. That's going to be the fastest way you guys are going to be able to get a hold of us, interact with us, be able to have a good time. That's where we're going to do a lot of questionnaires, polls, ask you guys questions on what we should talk about in the podcast this next episode. And one of the most important things we're talking about on our Twitter right now is we're trying to get some SoundCloud artists. Guys, we got this really cool segment we want to start throwing in every single episode, talking about our SoundCloud rapper of the episode. And that's going to be a real fun time. It's going to give us a chance to interact with our followers that are trying to get their names out there in the music industry and make a name for themselves. We're going to be talking about you guys. Me and Thomas, we love music. We're deep into the music scene, and we love listening to new things. We have a little bit of a competition of who can find like a really dope song before the other.
Mm-hmm. You know? And it ties in with sneakers, I feel like.
And there's a huge relation to where the music industry is right now, and fashion. And it's going to be a perfect way to kind of segue everything that we talk about into one big old nice potluck. Because the whole premise of this sneaker podcast, guys, is to combine everybody's perspectives from collectors who've been collecting for 20, 30 years now, all the way down to people who don't know anything about sneakers. We're just combining Thomas and I's passion for sneakers and giving out, exposing everything that we can to the mainstream media and show like how it relates to that there's more than meets the eye when it comes to sneakers. There's more going on than a lot of people think, and a lot of history that we cherish and everything. And so make sure to follow us on our Twitter, DM us, tweet us, all of your favorite SoundCloud rappers, or if you're a SoundCloud artist as well. And I'm saying SoundCloud rapper loosely. You don't have to be on SoundCloud. But if you're an upcoming artist and you have songs that you're working on or you're trying to get out there, send them to us. We love to hear you guys' stuff and talk about you guys on our podcast. And we love to have you on the podcast, give you a chance to talk about your music, the direction you're moving in, why your songs mean this, and this, and so forth. Kind of like, what Complex is doing. Or
we'll dissect it a little bit.
We'll break it down. We'll give you our honest opinion, too. And it's going to give us a really fun way to interact with you guys and a fun little segment to show you guys some love on our podcast. So make sure to follow us on Twitter, as well as email us for any inquiries at laced.up.podcast@gmail.com. Send us all of your business inquiries, any questions, suggestions, and if you want to be a guest on our show, tell us a little bit about yourselves, why you think you'd have a good time with us on the show. And we'd love to phone you in, bring you in person, depending on where you're at. We'd love to have you on the show as well. Speaking of that, Thomas, we've got a lot of awesome guests planning for our show. We've got Division I athletes. We've got fitness.
Boom.
We got fitness trainers. I know the D1 athletes, guys. Those are gonna be some fun interviews, guys. I'm sure you guys are gonna be really excited about that. Not even just Division I athletes, all the way down to Division III JUCO. Like I said, guys, we are trying to combine all these different perspectives from all walks of life in regards and all different experiences in sneakers, and we want to bring them all together and show you guys, get a perspective from everybody.
Get a collective.
Get a collective. feel like there's a better word than perspective, but I mean that's what it is. Get some opinions, some idealistic, some different backgrounds. We got some really awesome athletes. I know the big ones are going to be I don't want to release their names quite yet. I want it to be surprised when it pops up as we get closer. But we got some really awesome Division I athletes, some really big-time names. We also we're trying to land the manager for the University of Kentucky basketball team. That's going to be a really cool episode. So we got personal trainers lined up. We've got barbers lined up. They've been collecting shoes forever. Other collectors, guys. We've got riders from Kicks on Fire. We've got a lot of really awesome guests that we're trying to line up, schedule in. But our next episode, guys, stay tuned. We're going to have a really, really amazing, big-time personal trainer. I think I'm really excited about that because it's going to really it'll give us a chance.
It'll be a different take.
Exactly. We're going to talk a lot about how fashion has kind of impulted and took storm of the fitness industry in the last couple of years, because that has gone up really, really fast. So it's going to be awesome to get from a real certified personal fitness trainer their opinion about where fashion has changed just in the last couple of years and see how fast it's grown and spiked up, and her opinions on things, how fashion and sneakers have impacted her fitness. Bunch of really awesome questions we got lined up. So that's going to be a really fun episode. So stay tuned for that. And we've got a bunch. I don't know. I can't be spilling out too much information, but we got some really cool guests lined up.
Well, what do we got planned for today?
Yeah, we got a really awesome. Oh, before I forget, follow us on SoundCloud too. I feel like that's going to be
last minute plug.
Yeah, last minute plug. That's probably going to be the easiest way for you guys to listen to us. You guys will be able to listen to us on the go, while your phone's locked, while you're working out, on the car, the way to work, whatever you guys are doing. So follow us on SoundCloud, and you guys will be able to look at what we listen to as well in music. And you guys can kind of see if we have bad music taste or we have good music taste, or if we connect that way. So follow us on SoundCloud. It's Laced Up Sneaker Talk. You just search that. You guys will find us. As well as we're on Spreaker. We're on Stitcher. We're on the iTunes Store. Check us out on all those platforms. But I think those are all the plugs we got. But today, guys, today's
a little different episode. It's a segment we're gonna do from time to time. But
we're testing this out.
But this is kind of for, well, at least today, I feel like a lot of people don't know these details about this story. But so this segment is gonna be more about for those new sneakerheads, those kids in high school and middle school that need to know the history, need to, give you
guys a little background. It's gonna make you appreciate the shoes that you have on your feet, just a tad bit more, because then it turns from, at least my opinion, why I love knowing the history behind the shoes and the companies. At that point, you're not just putting on a sneaker; you're putting on an experience. You know? You get to connect to your shoe. You get to see kind of what the blood, sweat, and tears.
You're wearing history.
Yeah, essentially. And so this is a segment we're gonna call "Sit Your Ass." It's history class. It's gonna. Maybe we'll change the name. I don't know. That's what I came up with off the top. But we got today. What we're talking about, it's really cool. It's really interesting to me. I love this story. Thomas is a big fan of this too.
We touched on this story in our last episode a little bit.
So if you didn't listen to it, rewatch it so you kind of get the little Easter egg, little sneak peek,
a little hint.
Little sneak peek.
But this history lesson is going to be on the Adidas and Puma history and how they're kind of brothers that turned into this competition that...
A love story that... No, I'm just kidding.
All kind of,
how it does. So, guys, this is going to be really cool for those of you who don't know anything about the history of Adidas and Puma or anything like that. And it's going to be really cool even if you do. Because maybe we're going to touch on... We did some research. We delved into it pretty deep. So maybe you're going to hear a couple things that you might not be able to know. Then that way you can be the smartest one in your sneaker collector posse. Your posses. Your... Shut up. I'm going to shut up.
Shall we dive into this lesson?
Let's delve right into the juices of it.
So, this is going to be back in the 1910s. I don't have... I tried to stay away from having heavy exact dates, but this is just going to be a general...
Turn back time, possible as it may seem. Hey, shout out to if you guys know who the Backstreet Boys are. That was Backstreet Boys.
That was so random.
Turn back time. What is that song?
All right.
Quit Playing Games with My Heart. That's what it is. Carry on.
Is this a Backstreet Boys history lesson?
Quit playing games with my heart.
Stop. All right, 1910. There's these two brothers. They got the last name Dossler. They're German brothers. They're living in Germany. There's the older brother, who's Rudolf Dossler. And then there's the younger brother, who's Adolf Dossler. Adolf Dossler went by Adi, and I think Rudolph either went by like Rue or Rudy or something like that. So they had these nicknames. Rudolph, the older brother, he was in World War I. And I think, I'm assuming he fought for the Germans.
Exactly.
And then he came home and started making shoes with his dad. And at this time period, making shoes was more of like a craftsman specialty kind of job. Like every town had a shoemaker kind of thing. So he was kind of assisting his dad. And then kind of while this was going on, the younger brother also got involved in making his own shoes. And these were kind of like sports themed shoes, kind of athletic shoes for the time. And so Adi, was making his own shoes in their mother's kind of wash kitchen. And then eventually the older brother Rudolph stopped working with the dad, gathered enough information, and then went over with his brother Adolf. So Rudolph came back to Adolf, and they started making shoes together. And they created their own company called, this is in German, so I'm probably going to butcher this, but
probably
Gebrüder Dossler Schuhfabrik, which translates to Dossler Brothers Shoe Factory. And so this was what these two brothers did. They made shoes, and they were in this small German town. One of the funny stories is the town had unreliable electricity, so sometimes power went out, and they had to use one of those like peddler powers.
Oh, really?
Thing, like in like those like Looney Tunes kind of cartoons where they're pedal to like charge things up. Mm-hmm. And so then in like situations like that, they had to do that to make their shoes. And then what happened is in the 36 Olympics, Jesse Owens wore their shoes. They pretty much pulled up. They drove up to the Olympic Village, had a bunch of shoes in their car, and they just gave them to try to get them in possession of the athletes. Jesse Owens ended up wearing their shoe, and business boomed ever after that, because with Jesse Owens' incredible performance in the Olympics and the whole thing with the race, they made a movie about it. Mm-hmm. Him being kind of like,
wasn't it called The Race?
It was called, it was like Race
or something like that.
The Race.
Or was that TK? I get them confused.
Shut up. But yeah, it was a very pivotal athlete for the time, and they were able to capitalize on that moment, and so business boomed for them. But World War II comes around, and this is where there's some speculation, and some people think that there was some kind of anti-Nazi stuff going on with the one brother and pro-Nazi stuff going on. And you were correct in our earlier episode in assuming that it was the Adidas guy. But what happened was there was an Allied bomb attack in 1943. And when Adi and his wife ran into the bomb shelter, Rudolph and his family were already in it. And then Adi said something along the lines